This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is precisely 6:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dulbin Samarasinghe and read by Ramesh Peris. First, the headlines. The United Nations praises Sri Lanka's green agriculture program. The Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa instructs to continue with the Doctors Transfer Board. The first batch of Korean job recipients this year leaves the country. The Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation marks its 55th anniversary tomorrow. In news overseas, Australians desperate for tests amid Omicron surge. And in sports, it's cricket. Brisbane Heat, hit by COVID-19 cases, forced BBL into last-minute fixture change. Now the local news in detail. The United Nations has praised Sri Lanka's green agriculture program. This was mentioned when the UN Assistant Secretary Kani Wanigaraja met President Gotabaya Rajapaksa this morning at the Presidential Secretariat. Ms. Wanigaraja is the Assistant Administrator of UNDP and Director of the Asia-Pacific Bureau of the UNDP. She pointed out Sri Lanka has moved forward 7 points when compared with last year, according to the Sustainable Development Report 2021. She said Sri Lanka is in the 87th place out of 165 countries. Discussions took place on further developing the situation and attracting foreign investors. President Rajapaksa disclosed the program implemented by the country to achieve sustainable development goals while finding solutions to social and economic impact due to the COVID pandemic. The President said streamlined structures such as Presidential Task Force to create a green Sri Lanka with sustainable solutions to climate change and the Task Force for Economic Revival and Poverty Elimination are in place to achieve this objective. The Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has instructed to continue with the Doctors Transfer Board as it has been maintained so far. The Prime Minister gave the instructions following a discussion with Government Medical Officers Association at the Temple Trees today. The Prime Minister pointed out that problems arise when methods that have been maintained are changed according to the wishes of certain officials. He advised the ministry's officials to work according to establishment code together with trade unions. Consultant Dr. Anuruddha Padania, expressing his views on behalf of the GMOA, said medical administration should act without separating as seniors and juniors. The first batch of Korean job recipients this year will leave the country tonight. The group is consisted of 89 workers. 48 out of them have returned to the country from South Korea after employment and going back again. The other 41 are leaving for the first time after passing the Korean language proficiency examination. The Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation marks its 55th anniversary tomorrow after becoming a corporation. An all-night Pirit chanting ceremony will be held tonight at the corporation's head office in Colombo in connection with the anniversary. It will be broadcast live over City FM and Sinhala National Service. An all-religious program will take place tomorrow at the Kumarathunga studio of the SLBC, which will be broadcast live. A special Dhamma sermon will be held at Anand Samarkund studio from 6 p.m. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus, the best option.
The Ministry of Urban Development and Housing says remote villages and towns are being developed on the instructions of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa under 100 Cities program. Steps have been taken to develop Jayantipura, Madirigiriya, Valikanda and Araganvela towns. The ministry said development activities of the towns have been completed 90%. A Bodhi Puja to invoke blessings of the New Year was held this morning under the patronage of Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abewardena at Parliament premises. It was conducted by the chief incumbent of the Kotte, Sunetra Ramaya. The religious event was organized by Buddhist Society of the Parliament staff. The Director General of Government Information Department, Mohan Samaranayaka, handed over Janapati Alochana book compiled by the department to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa this morning. This book has analysed practical aspects of Vistas of Prosperity policy statement during the last 2 years. And that ends the local news bulletin.
In 200 meters, turn left.
This is not just my daily commute. I drive to power my nation's future.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus introduces specialized motor insurance for you who drive our nation forward. Choose tailor-made insurance solutions, up to 75,000 rupees claim settlements within 3 working hours. Exclusive discounts through Motor Plus loyalty rewards, easy and 0% interest payment plans.
Only from Sri Lanka Insurance.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa says all state employees numbering 1.4 million, including corporations, boards and authorities, will be paid an additional allowance of 5,000 rupees from this month. The group, whose salaries were amended due to teachers' salary issue, will also get the allowance. The minister said instructions were given to give the allowance to private sector workers as well. The government has decided to increase the Samurdhi allowance by another 1,000 rupees. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In Watchlight, the Elections Commission says voters list 2022 is now being displayed at all Grama Niladhari offices. Apart from that, it is being displayed at district election offices. The list can be accessed by logging into www.elections.gov.lk website. The Commission said voters should contact the Grama Niladhari for the division in their names if their names are not on the list. And that came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Moving on to a bulletin of world news, first the headlines. Australians desperate for tests amid Omicron surge. World powers vow to prevent nuclear war. Singer David Bowie estate sells rights to his entire body of work. Now the world news in detail. Australians have expressed anger at facing COVID test shortages and price gouging as the nation battles its most widespread infections yet. Last month, Australia lifted most of its strict domestic restrictions after reaching a 90% vaccination target. But the Omicron variant has fueled a surge in cases, now totaling over 25,000 a day. That puts intense pressure on testing and hospital systems, causing anxiety around the country. The world's nuclear powers have begun the new year with a pledge to avoid an arms race. The United States, Russia, China, France and Britain confirmed that they will work together on nuclear disarmament. The 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council issued a joint statement yesterday. In the statement, they said their foremost responsibility is avoiding war between nuclear weapon states. They added that nuclear weapons should only serve to deter aggression. David Bowie's estate has sold the publishing rights to his entire body of work to Warner Chappell Music, including hundreds of songs such as Space Oddity, Changes and Let's Dance. WCM now has global music publishing rights to his songs catalogue. Variety suggests the deal was worth upwards of $250 million, but the terms of the agreement were not given. WCM head Guy Moot said they were proud to be chosen as caretakers. Back to the headlines of the world news. Australians desperate for tests amid Omicron surge. World powers vow to prevent nuclear war. Singer David Bowie estate sells rights to his entire body of work. And that concludes the world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take coal out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Steps have been taken to issue water to Mahagalbaba tank through Uma Oya irrigation scheme. 500 acres of paddy fields will be provided water in both Yala and Maha season under Mahagalbaba scheme. More than 500 families will be provided with drinking water under this irrigation project. And that was Development News.
Development News was brought to you by The coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Moving on to sports news, it's cricket. The BBL has been forced into last-minute fixture changes after multiple Brisbane Heat players returned positive COVID-19 rapid antigen tests, with Perth's coaches to play Sydney Sixers at Metricon Stadium tonight, and the Heat Sixers clashes move to Wednesday to allow time for further COVID-19 testing and replacement players to be found. In tennis news, Japan's Naomi Osaka made a winning comeback after 4 months out with victory in the first round of the Melbourne Somerset event. The reigning Australian Open champion took an indefinite break from tennis after a third-round defeat at September's US Open. She was far from her best on her return, but still did enough to beat France's Alice Cornet 6-4, 3-6, 6-3. Meanwhile, Andy Murray suffered a losing start to 2022 as he was beaten by world number 76 Facundo Bagnis in the first round of the Melbourne Summer Series. The 34-year-old produced an error-strewn display as he lost 6-3, 5-7, 6-3 to the Argentine. The Scot slammed his racket into his bench in frustration during the deciding set. And that's sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSP U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Kapruka announced its plans to launch a used goods marketplace as a fully owned new sub-brand, soldout.lk. The marketplace will serve as an e-com platform for pre-owned goods, connecting buyers and sellers seamlessly with added features such as home delivery and order fulfillment. The market stands to significantly benefit the local automobiles and property sales trade industries. And that's business news.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSP U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Credit card spends continue to gain more momentum in November after a sharp upsurge recorded in October, which corresponded with the easing of virus-related restrictions. According to the latest data, the total outstanding card balance climbed by a robust 3,875 million rupees in November, up from about 3,400 million rupees in October. And that was Economic News. The weather report is next.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The Weather Report.
And finally, moving on to the weather report, the Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at times in Uva Province and in Batiklo, Ampara, Polonnaruwa, Matale and Nuwara districts. Several spells of showers may occur in Trincomalee and Anuradhapura districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the Western and Sabaragama provinces and in Kandy, Galle and Mathura districts during the evening or night. And that was the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. The United Nations praises Sri Lanka's Green Agriculture Programme. The Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa instructs to continue with the Doctors Transfer Board. The first batch of Korean job recipients this year leaves the country. The Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation marks its 55th anniversary tomorrow. In news overseas, Australians desperate for tests amid Omicron surge. In sports, it's cricket. Brisbane Heat hit by COVID-19 cases, forcing BBL into last-minute fixture change. And that concludes this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.